Hi guys, welcome back to Taylor. Today we're going to be looking at what happens if you don't get visual when you get to minimums on an ILS approach. Okay, so we're established on the ILS runway 10 right at Fort Pierce. Here's the plate, and if you need any information on how to set this up, you can have a look at my previous video, which was how to actually fly an ILS approach. Now let's have a look at the missed approach instructions for this approach. You can see them in the top right of the chart here, and it says missed approach, climb to 1,000 feet straight ahead basically, and then it's a climbing left turn to 2,000 feet heading 080, and then intercept the Treasure VOR radial 132 to Angie, which is 22.1 DME from the Treasure VOR, and hold. So basically you can see there's a sort of abbreviated version down here in the altitude planning box, which gives you a little sort of breakdown of it as well. So you see straight ahead to 1,000, left turn heading 080, climbing to 2,000, Treasure VOR radial 132 to Angie. So that gives you little sort of prompts as you go through. Now I've got that set up on, I've got Treasure VOR set up on nav 2, which you can see here on the GPS 117.3. I've also got on nav 2 on the OBS here 132 set up so that I can actually intercept that in case I don't have time to reset it on nav 1. I've got Treasure VOR in standby on nav 1 as well, so we should have time in order to get that sorted. So at the moment we're established on the ILS runway 10 right at Fort Pierce. If we have a look at the configuration, I've got flaps 10 set, 1700 RPM, about 80 to 85 knots there. We're doing about 500 feet per minute, and the minimums for the approach 273 feet, and we're just passing 550 feet here, so we're just coming up to the minimums. And the way I've set the weather up, we should not get visual. Oops, there we go. So we will hopefully not get visual, and then we can have a look at the missed approach instruction. So actually I've got it on the autopilot at the moment, so I'm going to disengage that, and I'll fly manually. And the minimum is 273 feet, and it's coming up, so it's about there. Can't see any runway, so go full power. I'm going to pitch for the VY attitude, which is about 8 degrees up in most light single engine aircraft. And then we're going to start carrying out the missed approach instructions. So it's straight ahead to 1,000 feet. So we climb here just straight ahead at the VY attitude. We've got a positive rate of climb, we're above 200 feet above the ground. So what we can do now is we can raise the flaps, so flaps from 10 to up. There's the 1,000 feet, so what we're going to do now is start that left turn to a heading of 080, which is around here, and I'm going to match my heading bug as well. Like I said, I've already got Treasure VOR set up in nav 2, but because I've got a little bit of time before the level off, I can actually change it over on nav 1 as well, and then go 132 on the OBS there. Bit too far. 132. And we need to identify Treasure VOR as well on nav 1. So there we go, that's identified. Coming up to the 2,000 feet level off. There we go, so we level off here. high, so I'm just going to pitch down just to regain that 2,000 feet. Reset the power. Definitely don't need that much power anymore. Can let the speed build up from the pitch down from climbing through the 2,000 feet. There we go. And that's looking a bit more sensible. Now I can trim the aircraft. That'll make it a bit easier on the workload. Now I'm going to hold this heading and then just wait now until the radial starts to come in, the 132 radial. So it's going to maintain this 080 heading and taking us all out over the water. If you have a quick look over the GPS there, you'll see that. And then we'll pick up that radial and then track that outbound to 22 DME. There's a little bit of turbulence as well, which makes it a little bit trickier to keep the altitude. You see the CDI on nav 1 is starting to come in now. And then once that comes in slightly more towards the center, we can reduce the intercept angle slightly so that we don't go through it. At the moment we are 15 DME away, so it's not going to be that sensitive due to the distance from the VOR. The closer you are to the VOR, the smaller the corrections need to be, otherwise you'll end up overcorrecting. Okay, so we're almost centralized. I'm going to set my heading bug to 132. Which is around about there. I'm going to start that right turn now in order to intercept the radial. There we go, level the wings here, and all we need to do now is just maintain this radial and altitude. This heading should just about do it. There might be a little bit of wind, so we might need to make a small correction left or right in order to maintain the radial. And now it's just a matter of continuing outbound until we reach 22.1 DME, which is where the Angie fix is. And in a moment you can see here we're at 17 DME, so there's a few miles to go. Once we get to Angie, we need to enter the hold. Now I'm not going to show you that today. I'm going to be doing a separate video on how to enter holds. But normally you wouldn't actually get the full missed approach completed anyway. Normally HCC would have told you what to do next. So we'd have a couple of decisions to make here. What we would do is maybe review the weather and see if the weather's improved at Fort Pierce, and then decide whether we're going to go and give it another go or not. Or we will decide to go somewhere else. So if we decide to go somewhere else, it'd be a matter of telling ATC where we want to go and then organising that diversion due to weather. You can see on the GPS here we've got Angie coming up as well, so that looks pretty promising that we've got everything set up as we want it. And we're 19 DME from Treasure VOR, so still 3 miles to go before we get to Angie by using conventional methods, backed up by the fact that we can see the fix on the GPS there as well. Now if we didn't have DME, we could use this radial off the Papa Hotel Kilo VOR, and we would set that up in nav 2, and once the radials cross, then you'd know that you were at Angie. I might show you that in a different video sometime. So if you have a look at the GPS there, you can see Angie's pretty much bang on the nose, and it looks like we're going to hit 22 DME any second. So you can see that that's all matched up pretty nicely. We've stayed on the radial the whole time. we've just hit 22 DME there, and we've just hit Angie as well. So that's looking pretty good. Now let's assume now that ATC have given us further instructions. They want us to go westbound, and they want to know what we want to do next. So let's say that we've decided that we've got the weather at Fort Pierce, and we're going to give it another shot for the approach. So what we do now is we would obviously follow our ATC vectors, and we'd need to set up a new approach in the GPS. So join me when we're established on that heading and altitude, and then we will have a look at how to do that. Okay guys, so we're established now on the west heading, which is a vector that we can assume that ATC gave us to vector us around for another go at the approach at Fort Pierce. So what we need to do now is we need to make sure that we can set the approach up again to give us another go at it. So the first thing we need to do is obviously go over to the GPS here and remove all of this nonsense that's no use to us anymore, because it's still trying to take us between Tiki and runway 10 right. So we definitely don't want that in there anymore. Now the best thing we can do is just go into flight plan here, into menu, and just completely get rid of this flight plan. And then it's completely gone. We can just start from scratch. So now what we can do is we can now set up just a direct route to Fort Pierce, and then select the approach from there. So what we could do, save us having to type it in, is to go to the nearest function here, and you'll see here we're at the nearest airports. You can navigate to these by using the small knob here, and then we can push the cursor in, and you see that Fort Pierce now highlighted. We go to direct, it fills in the direct page here, and then all we need to do is activate that. So we push in the cursor here, use the big knob down to activate, and enter. Now we should have a flight plan direct to Fort Pierce. Perfect. Now we go to procedures, and then push in the small knob and select approach. Small knob again, and then big knob. ILS runway 10 right, enter. We'll go via HASOC because that's where we went before, so we'll select HASOC and then activate that approach. Now what you see, if we go back to the navigation screen, is that we've now got navigation to HASOC, so we can actually just take ourselves back there now using the GPS or whatever ATC asked us to do, and then this would actually take us all the way back round for another approach. And then all we've got to do is set our frequencies back up, so set our ILS frequencies back up, set our final approach course, which was 097. There we go. And now that's it, we're ready for another go at the approach. So now we can go and have a go at the ILS again, see if we get in this time. If we didn't get in the second time, we definitely go around and go somewhere else, because you don't want to keep trying and run out of fuel going into the same place. Yeah, and that's it guys, so that's how you do the missed approach and set yourself up for another go.